Hello everyone, welcome to this YouTube channel. Please like and comment if this video helps you and subscribe to this channel to get updates about the new content.
Hi guys, hope you're safe and well. Thank you for joining us today. Welcome to another episode of Code and Create with Orbis Connect. This is actually the last episode of season 1 of Code and Create, which has been really good over the past 4 weeks. Loved hosting it. The good news is myself and Orbis Connect will be back. So season 2 of Code and Create of our lunchtime webinars will begin in a few weeks' time, which is on the 27th of May. We've got different speakers every week, again, discussing a range of topics from back-end tech, front-end tech, cloud, and everything in between. So, yeah, we've got some awesome speakers lined up for that already. So make sure that you go to our meetup page, Orbis Connect's meetup page. You can keep track of everything and go on there and see who we got speaking. I think we got some season 2 speakers online already on our meetup page that you can go and check out. So yeah, really cool episodes coming up. Within this episode, we've got Pradeep Badani, who is a Google Cloud authorized trainer, certified professional cloud architect, Google developer expert. So yeah, really cool guy. He's going to be speaking to us about accessing GCP services securely using service accounts, Cloud IAM roles. So yeah, really excited to have Pradeep with us today. This should be really cool. So without further ado, I'm going to pass you over to Pradeep now for his presentation. So let me get him up on the screen. Hi, Pradeep.
Hi Joe, thanks for introducing me.
No worries at all. I'll let you crack on.
Cool, thanks. I'll just share my screen and then we'll get started
Cool.
on this presentation on GCP. So just give me a moment to share the screen. Please let me know when you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, go for it, Pradeep.
Cool. Hello everyone. Today I'm going to discuss like how we can access GCP services using service account and manage the permissions using Cloud IAM roles, and why it's more secure than using a username, password, or a key file, etc. So before we start, let's just quickly, I'll tell you about me. So I'm an IT consultant with about 8 years of experience in various fields like big data, cloud, particularly in GCP and AWS and DevOps technology. I'm a Google developer expert in cloud category and recently became a Google Cloud authorized trainer. I try to write some blogs about DevOps or cloud, and you can find those on pbhadani.com. Mentioned here. I'll be sharing the slides afterwards, so all the links and everything will be with you. Uh, about cloud native technology, I founded Cloud Native Technologies to provide consultancies in big data and cloud, and also providing tailored training based on the scenario or use cases customers have. So quickly, let's look at today's agenda. First, we are going to quickly see the concepts of service account and the IAM roles in the GCP. What are they? And then jump on the demo on the Google Cloud Platform UI and do it in the live instead of going through like slides and talking. And before I do like when I start a demo, I'll quickly show the Google Cloud Platform console UI. So if someone is new, so that it just gets some familiarity, and like the Cloud Shell, which is a great utility within the Cloud Shell to interact or to work in a Unix environment. So the service account. So in a Google Cloud Platform, a service account is a kind of a special account which can be used by an application to make GCP service calls. For example, if I want to interact with BigQuery as a service or App Engine as a service accounts can help an application to interact with the BigQuery or App Engine in a way. When we use service account, there are no passwords, but there is a JSON key. So yeah, you don't type username and password, but there is a user key, JSON key, which is generally required if we are not, if an application lives outside Google Cloud Platform environment. But when we are on the Google Cloud Platform itself, application is running, let's say within the VM instance or in a container, we can use the service account to make service calls, and we don't need, yeah, those JSON keys in some scenarios. So there are two types of keys. One is Google managed key, where the Google keeps rotating the key based on some time frame, and we don't have to manage that. It's all taken care by the Google. And the second type is user managed key. This is required when we have an application which sits outside Google Cloud Platform. So we download the JSON key and then we authenticate the service account using the JSON key. In this scenario, in this session, we'll focus on the Google managed key, where we don't have to manage the key, and we'll see like why it's more secure in that way. Now, let's quickly see what are IAM roles. So IAM roles are a group of permissions. So it's a way to grant permissions to maybe a user, a group, or a service account, where we define all the permissions in a role, and then those roles can be tied to a user or a group or a service account. There are three different types of IAM roles available on GCP. First one is primitive, which are owner, editor, and viewer. Those are like a really broad roles. For example, if you have a viewer role, which means you can view all the resources on a GCP in a GCP project. If you have an editor, then you can create, delete resources. And if you're owner, which means you're a project owner, you can even delete the project as well. Then these are very broad level, which are obviously not a good choice when we are dealing with application, because we don't want to give too broad permissions to an application. The second is predefined. So which are permissions or IAM roles already defined by Google specific to a service. For example, storage admin. If you have a storage admin, which means a user or a service account can do anything related to GCS buckets. If it's storage viewer, then it can just see the object. Maybe it cannot create the bucket or create objects or delete objects, for example. So there are a variety of predefined IAM roles comes from the Google. Then the third one is a custom. There will be scenarios where we need some of the permissions and we want to narrow it down to the possible way. For those scenarios, we can create custom IAM roles where we define where we define a set of permissions ourselves and create IAM role out of that. So it's basically a custom permissions, collection of custom permissions can be done via custom IAM roles. So now let's quickly jump on the Google Cloud UI and let's start from there. I hope you can see the console UI. So this is like when we log into the Google Cloud Platform console, which is on console.cloud.google.com, it gives quickly a dashboard of a project selected. We can have a multiple projects. We can list it from here. At the moment, I only have one project, so I just see that. If you have a number of projects, you list down and we can choose it from there. Same which can be seen here. So a project is have three properties: a project name, which is defined by user, a project ID, which we can choose it, but it should be unique. Once we choose it, we cannot change this project ID, and this project number is generated by the Google itself. Then it gives like, okay, what all APIs are running, maybe some resources, some tutorials, etc. And we can customize this dashboard based on our requirement. Maybe if we want more things, we can just add some dashboards here. If you don't want, let's say, error reporting, we can just hide this card, or if you don't need news, we can just hide this card, etc. And in the activity, we can see like what activities are going in the project. Here's the customize button to customize the dashboard. Now these three, this is This is the navigation menu, which lists all the services the Google provides, and these are categorized. For example, compute services are listed here, storage services are listed here, and so on. And if I have any service which I use frequently, I can just pin it so that it just is in top here, so that I don't have to scroll down here and look for that service. So I'll just pin compute engine and IAM and maybe the storage, which is GCS, probably which we are going to use it, and BigQuery. BigQuery should be in data analytics, so I should find it here. So here is the BigQuery. So all these are now pinned here. Cool. So this is about the console UI, brief overview. Also, we can search it if you don't want to. I can just search, like, if I just will look BigQuery, I can just search it and it will just give me a list of the service which I can choose it from here. Another great utility is Cloud Shell, which I can activate. So Cloud Shell is a Unix environment which also lives on the cloud. It gives us a Unix terminal where we can run all the commands which we would run from our local environment. So once we have the Cloud Shell, just that we can just log into the browser and we can do most of the work from here. It gives like about 5 GB of persistent storage. So whatever we create and store here, they lives persistently. So if I just do df minus h, I have some storage, then it's already a file is created. For example, if I create like just like touch.txt, I can see a file test.txt, and I'll close the terminal and start it again. I should be able to see that file because the data is kind of persisted. So if I just do ls, I can see test.txt. And also this Cloud Shell comes with pre-installed softwares like gcloud, so that we don't have to install those again. So if I just do gcloud version, it's installed. I can see the Cloud SDK 289, which is latest one, is already installed. And it's already authenticated with the logged in user. So if I just do gcloud auth login, sorry, you're already authenticated. So I should do gcloud auth list to list down. So it says that I'm already logged in with my Gmail account and so on. And if for some reason the shell is not enough, it also gives an editor, which is like kind of a UI base where we can write the stuff like we do in a ID like Atom or something like that. So it's my first time, so it's just making connection and all those stuff. So I have this and I can open in a new window so that I have a nice IDE, lightweight IDE on the cloud, and I can do my stuff from here. So I can just type hello world, just save it. And like normally, like I can just save it like with Command S and it's like saved. If I just do check on the terminal, I can just see hello world. So that's enough from the Cloud Shell. Let's move back on our cloud dashboard and let's create some IAM roles. So what we are gonna do is we are gonna create a IAM role for a use case and then create a VM and try to see how we interact with the services. So if we go back to the agenda, we are going to create two service account, one which will allow us to access storage service and one which will allow us to access BigQuery service. Then we'll create two separate VM and attach these two service account to those VMs and then try to access the storage and the BigQuery API. And when we will see like where we get access denied and where we get successful access. So I just go into the menu, click on IAM and admin. So these are already created. So once the project was there, these are Google created IAM members, which are already there. We are not going to use these predefined. We'll create our own. So what I'm going to do is going to service account and then just say create service account and fill this form. In this form, first one, let's say it is a storage. So I'll just say storage essay, and description I can just provide is like access GCS, and then click on create. Here it will ask me what type of role you want. It is going to give all the predefined role. So I will just say storage admin. So which gives like full control on GCS resources. Continue. Uh, I can create a key if want to use this service account outside GCP, but we are not going to do that. So I'm just leave it like that. So we are not creating any key. So essentially there is no password or a key for this user account, or you can say, sorry, service account. Let's create another one, which is PQ. So let's say PQSA. It creates a like a unique service account ID as well. And just create. I will give a role like BigQuery admin so that it can do anything with the BigQuery. And again, I'm not creating any key. Now, if you go to the IAM, we should see two IAM member. So this is our service account, the name we have given, the role which we have, and another one is storage essay. And if it's required, I can add it. I can add another role if required, but this is sufficient for this demo. Now let's go to the compute and create VMs. To create a VM, we just go to the compute VM instance. There is no VM, so there's no list here. I can just click on create. The first instance, I would just say I want, there is an application which wants to interact with the GCS bucket. So I will just say GS storage instance, and we will attach. So the name should not have underscore. I'll give a hyphen. So we will attach the storage service account to this VM and try to access the GCS labels. If required, we can provide. So we'll just say application is storage, and yeah, the location region could be like US Central, or I can put on Europe. Let's just keep it default. The machine type and one I can just choose like the micro, because there's no heavy application. We're just going to run going to SH into these machine and run some CLI operation. I will leave everything as it is. Now here it comes like service account. By default, it will try to attach the compute engine's default service account. We don't want to do that. I want to attach storage SA. And the access scope will be then controlled with the service account thing. We are not going to deploy any application which requires HTTP or HTTPS traffic. So leave it like that and click on create. Before I click on create, one good thing with this UI is I can just click on this REST. So it gives like a REST equivalent call. So from here, if like later on we want to create these type of machine using our favorite language like Python or something like that, we can use those Google Python client libraries, and uh, or just using the REST request, you can do it, or can just get the G Cloud command line. So I can run this same command using from the Cloud Shell, and it should create a VM like this. So this one will create from the UI. It's going to create, and okay, it's just giving an error. Let's see what invalid value resource.labels. Okay, the labels are incorrect. Let's just say app storage. I probably am put some character which it doesn't like. Storage VM. Nothing works perfect in the demo. Again, select F1 Micro, then Storage SA, and click on Create. Just delete that. And meanwhile, let's build a BQ VM as well, where we will attach the BQ related service account. So app BQ, again N1, like F1 Micro service account is BQSA, and let's maybe copy this. So we are not going to create it from here. We'll just say from terminal. Just, so I'll just paste this command here. Let's see. So now we should just go back and refresh this. So we have a BQ VM and we have a storage VM. Once the VM is created, we can just click here to find more details about it. We can just quickly check the service account is the one we wanted. So yeah, the BQ one has a BQSA service account, and the storage VM has storage SA account. To log into these VMs, we can just like click on this SH, and it will create a session for us. It will transfer all the keys and everything, create a user with an email name we are logged in, and going to create that. Sometimes it could take some time initially, but as soon as we enter into the SH terminal shell, we'll try to execute BigQuery and GCS commands. So what we are going to do is we are going to run, let's say, GS util command, which is a command to access with GCS bucket, and BQ command, which is to access BigQuery. We'll run the similar commands from both of the machine, and let's see which command runs perfectly fine from which machine. It's taking longer than expected. Let's see if something is wrong with the machine. Probably these are not up yet. Okay, looks like these VMs are not ready. Maybe I'll just create with a bigger instance so that it might just come up quickly. Storage VM, storage. I'm going to put as N1 storage. PQ, and the service account is PQ. I hope we have done this 2-3 times so it just makes everyone more familiar with. And this serial port one basically gives like the war log of the system. If this doesn't work, then we'll just fall back to another way to SH into the VM. We'll just generate a public private key and then just try to log in with that. Okay, I think there is something problem with the network. Let me quickly use another project and we'll just do it there. Sorry for this. Tried all these things in a different project and created this fresh project, but seems like there's some problem with the. So I just assigned another project for this user. I'll just quickly stop sharing the screen and accept that and be back again. Just give me a moment, please.
Yeah, no worries, Pradeep. No worries.
Yeah.
Remember, guys, while we're waiting, don't forget to sign up to our meetup. Our meetup page, Always Connect, and you can keep track of all of our events. Moving forward, back on the 27th of May, I believe. So yeah, make sure you're following that just to keep on top of all the latest info. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you at the next ones as well. But I'll just give Pradeep a few more minutes to sort out his presentation. I'm sure it won't be too long now.
I think I'm good. So let me just share back the screen.
Nothing like a live demo, is there, Pradeep?
Yeah. Yeah, I think hopefully now able to see the screen again. So
Yeah,
what I've
go on,
just
Pradeep.
done
All
is
good.
just switch to the project. So I'll just quickly create the IAM and everything which I created. So because this is a completely new project, so I have to create all those stuff again. So let's just quickly create a service account, which is storage SA. So I'm not going to talk over again. I'll just quickly create it because I already talked about it. So going to give storage admin role to this, no key. Can create PQSA for BigQuery, give BigQuery admin and continue and no key, continue. If we go to the IAM, there is storage SA and there is PQSA with the permission. So let's quickly go to the VM. There's already VM, please ignore that. I will create storage, just leave it like that, and storage create and PQ. Okay, I'm not able to see PQ. Let me just confirm it was there. Let's go back. Yep, PQ is here. That is weird. Created in the same account. BigQuery admin workshop demo. Just save it again and refresh this. recreate it. For some reason, it's not appearing. Done. Let's go to compute. Sorry, it's just a scroll. Just to create and quickly log into this. Okay, so I'm logged into the storage and soon we'll have BigQuery. So to just quickly check which service account this VM is using, I can just do G Cloud again auth list. It should print the storage one. So we can see storage, and while we'll run the same command on the BQ one once this is available. So now let's quickly go to the GCS and see if we have any buckets. We might have some bucket already, so you can just use it. So, or we can just create a new one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run command like gsutil mb, and the bucket name should be unique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the project ID, which is unique, and just put something, and just GS protocol, which I missed here. So just to say this is a GS bucket. So it says creating GS, and if I go to the UI, I should see this. We have this new bucket which I created. Let's run the similar command on the BQ one also. So for example, there's an application which is running specific to the BigQuery. So it should only interact with BigQuery, not with storage. So let's see what happens when it tries to interact with storage. Before that, let's just confirm that it has a BigQuery SA. So gcloud auth list. It has a BigQuery service account. So I'm going to run similar command gsutil mb gs, and I'll just append PQ. So it tries to create the GCS bucket, but then get like access denied, does not have storage bucket key permission, because the service account only has a BigQuery admin IAM role, which doesn't include storage permissions. And even if I just do gsutil ls, so it gets like, okay, it doesn't have the storage bucket list to list any bucket as well. And if I run gs util ls on the storage, it should list the buckets which we have. So this is how once, like if we have appropriate service account, we can restrict the access of an application to a service and authenticate without any key. Few things to note: we did not use any JSON key for authentication or a password or any authentication key for this VM to interact with the GCS bucket. And also, like we see, like the service account which we created specifically for a storage application can query or interact with the storage service, but the service account which we created for BigQuery application cannot interact with the storage, which is what we wanted. So now let's run like the BigQuery command. We'll create a BigQuery data set. We'll try to create a BigQuery data set. So I have a command already. Not sure if you guys are able to see. I'll just zoom it in. I hope it's much clear. So this command, sorry, there's a space. So it created a data set called mybq underscore data set. So let's go to the BigQuery and see if this is available. So if I click here, okay, I can see my BQ dataset, which is created from the BQ VM. Let's run the similar command from the storage, and this time I'll just change the dataset names to my BQ dataset storage, something like this. So PQ location is US, make, this is the default table expiration, like some description and the name, my BQ dataset storage. Okay, again, so it got like the access denied error, which is good because it doesn't have BigQuery dataset create permission, because this VM has a storage service account. So it is only supposed to interact. It is only supposed to interact with the storage services, not with the BigQuery services. And if I just run the list of all the BigQuery dataset, it should work on the BigQuery VM, but not on the storage VM. So it doesn't return anything basically because it can't read anything with the BigQuery. So this is how we can separate the access for each application based on the service account and the permissions which we want to give. Now let's do another way, because I'm logged in with this my email ID, which we saw as a project I think owner. So it has all the permission. So we should be able to create like storage bucket or BigQuery dataset or delete them and etc. So this is my email. I am owner. So let me just start a Cloud Shell and let's run these command again from this Cloud Shell, and let's see what happens. I'll just quickly zoom it up. So first, I'll try to interact with the GCS bucket. So I will just I'll run gsutil command, but before that, I will just do gcloud auth list to quickly show that okay, this email ID, which is a project owner. So I will run gsutil ls, and it should actually work because this user. Sorry, I am in the different project CNTech demo, and this is a different project. So let me just quickly reactivate the Cloud Shell. I can change the project ID using the command also, but just to quickly, I can just reset my shell. So gsutil ls. So it returns the GCS buckets, which we saw on the UI. And also if I just run pqls, okay, it returns the dataset ID as well. Because this user is a project owner, it can read anything within this project. So I think this is all about this demo, and now it's a QA time. Just to summarize, what we done was we created a different service account for different application and try to see that one service account can only access the service which the permissions are given. For example, the storage service account can only access storage service. Storage service. It cannot access BigQuery service, for example, or it cannot access compute if we try to do any other service other than storage. And similarly for the BigQuery service account. Also, the email ID which I used to log into the GCS console, GCP console, is a project owner. So I was able to run both BigQuery and the GCS command. Also, if you notice, when I was doing stuff on the VM, those are also some calls like creating a VM. I was able to create VM. I was able to create IAM roles, service account, etc. Because that email ID is a project owner, which means it can do anything within that project. So now it's a QA time. So if there are any questions, I'm happy to take and answer them.
Yes, Pradeep. Thank you very much for your talk. I'm just going to get rid of your share screen, so it's just us. Yeah, very well done, Pradeep. Really enjoyed that. Nothing like a live demo. If these things went right first time, then it'll be too easy, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got a few questions off the back of that. So we'll get straight into it, I guess. So in your opinion, Pradeep, is it good to use a single service accounts for multiple applications?
Not really, because like we should follow like the principle of least privileges, which means an application, for example, in this case, an application related to storage, if it only needs to access GCS bucket, then we should only give permission related to that. We should not have permission for that service account to use like a BigQuery or a computer, something like that. So if we create a single service account, and let's say we have a multiple application, then we have to give the union of all the permissions. So
Yeah.
we should not do that. We should have a separate service account for each application.
Right. Okay. Cool. So can you attach multiple service accounts to a single VM instance?
Not really. So when we try to create a VM, we can only select one service account. So, and obviously it is good to have only one service account attached to VM. But for example, let's say we created this service account for storage and we need some more permissions. What we can do is we can attach multiple IAM roles to a service account. So whatever extra permissions are needed, we can just add it to the service account, and then application just get those permissions
Okay.
via that
Cool.
service account.
Yeah. So I guess that leads on to the next question then. So in terms of the best practice to assign roles to service accounts.
Yeah, as I said, like, yeah, we should always follow the principle of least privileges. So
Yeah.
whatever the permissions are required. So in this example also, I gave the service account a storage admin and a BigQuery admin, which is like the full access on the particular service. But in a use case, if we don't need those, if there's just an application we just want to read from GCS bucket, then storage viewer should be enough. We should not be giving like storage admin or any other permissions to that service account, because that application is only supposed to read the data from GCS bucket.
Yeah. Of course. Okay. So I think a few more questions. Got a few minutes left, Pradeep,
Yeah,
if that's good.
yeah.
Um, so how can I use a service account on containers running on GKE?
Okay, that's a good question. So yeah, so in this example or in this demo, we showed this on the VM. So similarly on the GKE, we can also use service
Sorry,
account.
just to confirm, for me, is that Google Kubernetes? Is that?
Yeah, Google Kubernetes engine.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry,
Yeah,
carry on. I didn't mean to interrupt you
yeah. So on the GKE, uh, there is a new feature which is still in beta called workload identity. So that what that allows is that allows to bind the service account to a particular pod. So if an application is running in its own pod, then those service account can be attached, and it will work the similar way that like what we saw now.
there. Okay. Cool. Um, yeah. One more question. I think. Would you need to restart VM after changing service account permissions?
Not really. So if we just add a role, then it should just pick it up. What we can do is we can quickly just do a quick demo. I think we have some time. It won't take
Yeah.
more than
Sure.
two
Go for
minutes.
it. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Go for it.
let's go back and share the screen.
Yeah. Do you want me to
Let me
focus the
know.
screen?
Yep,
Yeah.
please.
Go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's quickly go to this IAM. So for example, What I'll do is I'll pick this storage service account, and what I'm going to do is I'll just give it this service account as a BigQuery admin. And now I'm in the storage shell. So this is storage one. Let me just zoom it again. G-Cloud auth list. So it's a storage service account, and let me just do BQLS, and we see now we are able to see the data set. So it just works like straight away. So you don't need to restart or recreate machines or anything. And now if I revoke that access, for example, I can revoke as well. So let me just revoke that, save it, go back and run BQLS. Okay, I can't return, I can't see any data set now because the permissions are now gone.
Right.
So yeah, any more questions? I'm happy to
I
take.
think that's all we got time for, Pradeep. But is it you're going to be sending out some? You got some links and stuff that we can send out to everyone who signed up. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So all these links are, so yeah, like these are the best way to connect to me. Like you can connect me via like LinkedIn, GitHub,
Yep.
or Twitter, and you can watch some YouTube videos on my YouTube channel. I'll be sending these slides, sharing these slides and the link so that you have access to all these resources. And hopefully the recording will also be available after the session. So anyone who is not able to make it or want to refer back, yeah, can refer the recording.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, really appreciate that, Pradeep. That was really cool, really insightful, and yeah, really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us today. So yeah, and thanks for everyone who's joined in. Before we finish up, just wanted to remind everyone that this is actually the last episode of season one of Code and Create. We're going to have, I think, a week or two's break. And then we're going to be back with season two, which launches on the 27th of May. Like I said at the beginning, we've got some really cool guys lined up. And yeah, really excited for that. So thanks again to Pradeep. Thanks to our previous guests, Jai, George, and Giuliano as well. And thanks to our marketing and events manager, Hannah, who puts all this together. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing you guys again in a few weeks. Yeah, so thanks, Pradeep.
Thanks, Joe.
And
Thanks
yeah, no
everyone
worries.
for attending,
Stay,
taking time and attending this session. Hopefully it was useful, and yeah, helps you to yeah use service accounts in a better way.
Yeah, absolutely. All the links and to this to watch this back, this Code and Create with Pradeep, all the previous ones, and all the presentations that Pradeep's going to send out is all going to be available. Just go to our Orbis LinkedIn page or the Orbis Connect meetup page, and you can find all the details there. So yeah, thanks again, Pradeep, and we'll speak soon. Yeah, stay
Yeah,
safe.
thanks, Joe.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and comment to provide the feedback. Finally, please subscribe to this channel to get the latest updates.